and you are now watching Crumb TV.
Brother Red Pill representing Know the Ledge, one half of the Twin Pillars. I am here rocking with Crumb TV.
No, you are watching Crumb TV.
You can find me on Crumb TV.
You can catch me on Crumb TV.
This is Chief Kalanago here at Crumb TV.
I am Joy Allen of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty in the Crumb TV studio.
Honored to be on your program, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
Crumb TV.
If you could, please repeat after me. Peace, Ashe, Islam, Namaste, Hotep, Grand Rising, Assalamu alaikum, Walaikum salam, Bum dia, Oseo, Halito, Wagwan, what up though? Rahubat, Shalom, Salam, Que pasa? Konnichiwa, Ni hao, what happened? Whatever the greeting is in your respective language, I'm your humble brother Crumb here for another installation of Crumb TV. You already know what it is, family. This video is called Birth Control, the sex scandal. Oh, I gotta take, how did I put this? I gotta fix this thing, family. Hold on. I gotta fix this thing. Let's get it right. Listen, family, if you're gonna tell the truth, tell the whole truth. So yeah, there it is. All right, so yeah, it's called our birth control sex scandal. But before I get into that, family, I want to do what I do best and acknowledge the family, the first responders, the first people in the building. If something go down, these people are the first to see it and tap all the way in. Now, we have about 30 first responders within the first 2 minutes, but for time's sake, I'll just do the first three. We call that the perfect trifecta. Number one of the perfect trifecta is Tay Pitt or Ta Pitt. He says, and my apologies, brother. Charge it to my mind, not my heart. Put some respect on your name. He says, peace and blessings, King. And I'm saying peace and blessings back, Almighty. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Number two in the building of the perfect trifecta is Conscious Connect. She says, greetings. Yeah, you gotta put that extra up there with the fairy family. This has got to be magical. So I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Number three in the building of the perfect trifecta is my brother from another mother, my man, 100 grand. It's the family. We all in the building. He says peace and light, family, and it's awesome. I love it. But when we get into things like light, that's when we start getting really deep into things. So shout out to all of the first responders. If we could, family, could we get a roll call, city, state, zip, country, area code, island, whatever the case may be, tap all the way in and let me know where you at. But when the first 5 minutes, we try to take care of all the housekeeping. So if you're a master student, hit that like button. And a part of that is me just bringing in the family. So, you can know who is who and what is what. So with me today is the God 720. Peace and love, brother. How are you?
What's good? What's good? What's good? Another day, another dollar. What's happening?
Absolutely. Brother, before we get into this, do you mind if you could tell the family who you are and where we can find you at?
I am Keenan Booker, aka the God 720, medieval author. And what we're going to be talking about today is another book I just wrote. It's the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women, Volume 1, Volume 2. You see it right here. And then my other books, right here, the Black Man's Bible, all of that. You see it in the background right here. Okay, that's a 3-volume series that you can get at kickedoutofheaven.com. You can buy the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women at thewomansalchemy.com. You can find my music. Just Google the God 720. It's on all streaming platforms. And yeah, that's it. There's many other books that are written. Go to the blackmansbible.com too. That's what you see right there. All right. So
absolutely. Brother, glad to have you. And we basically hit the 5-minute mark. Perfect timing, immaculate, serendipitous. but I want you to take the lead on the conversation. Birth control. You said some things that really blew my mind. Do you mind running those back on me?
Do you remember? Would introduce it?
Well, I was saying birth control is for, and this is surface level, obviously. On the surface, it was sold as a way to have sex, without the whole getting pregnant, whatever the situation. But you were saying it's it's actually backwards. It's more devious than what we believe it to be. Can you add value?
Well, what I said was birth control is designed for you to not have sex, and that's what a lot of people don't get. I think I still got the page open here. Okay. Yeah, that's what people need to understand about how a scientist thinks. You see, the scientist thinks in a format, excuse me. The scientist thinks in a format of the bottom line of what we need to do. So, for instance, if we need to fix a valve in the heart, if we need to, put in new lungs, are the lungs in a condition to revitalize? Okay, things of that nature. So you have to be down to a fine-tuned level of what needs to be completed. What needs to be completed is not having babies, is the proof or the result of birth control. We need to control the birth so the birth doesn't happen. You see. So you have to get that in nature, we talk about animals, insects, whatever, they mate to reproduce. So if we're not mating to reproduce, then we're not having sex. This is how it works. You understand? Let me do that again. If you're not mating to reproduce, you are not having sex, because that is what the activity is supposed to concur with at the end. Okay, and that's what you're not doing. So there's many different ways. So since we know what the male human body is based off of testosterone, the female's body is based off of estrogen, there is a magnetizing that goes on in between the two. Okay, from close observation, we see the testosterone of the male chasing the women around. Okay, so within that situation, if that's the first stage is in the courting between the male and the female, then we need to, and then we also understand by observation that the male is attracted to beauty. And there's a lot of other things that the male is attracted to for preparation of reproduction, which would also be the widening of the hips, the fullness of the breasts, and things of that nature, which are supported by foods and exercise and everything else. Also, there's mental comprehension with what you've experienced in life and what you have learned throughout the course of life. Okay. So the first stage is to make the woman ugly. Okay. The cover for this video is actually supposed to be a bearded lady, but I didn't want that. We decided not to put that out. And that's what we're talking about. So birth control will change the way the woman perceives existence, the way she smells, the way she perceives smells, or her conclusion from what type of male that may be, from his posture, from the way he walks. Voice levels can get irritating, because how she hears. Okay, this is also relative to headaches that she may get, and the whole enforcement to make her look at a male as the devil. After a certain couple of years, she starts to make excuses and observe how you move, and then complain about what you're not doing, and then make excuses on why she should leave you. So the birth control and the first stage of courting is to make the woman not to be beautiful, not to be attractive, so the males will repulse her. So there's another instance of this for people who are like sex slaves or things that have happened with that realm, is they will not take a shower so they can stink, to protect themselves from any predatorial activity from a sex predator or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So these things also, and then also there's an attraction for food. There's a woman's behavior is being um, totally compromised and altered and controlled by chemicals. Okay, this goes on with like too much testosterone inside the, because naturally if we use testosterone, it's going to battle against testosterone. That's what testosterone and testosterone do. Males compete. So filling a woman's body with a bunch of this testosterone, especially synthetic testosterone coming from the medical, is going to make her argue with the man all day. You see what I'm saying? And go ahead.
Brother, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you sound perfect. I just wanted to acknowledge my sister. Such a pretty profile picture, Goddess Yah. I hope I pronounced it right. If not, charge it to my mind, not my heart. She says, yes, it alters everything in our DNA. Is it really that? Well, I guess you are saying it's really that dangerous. It's causing her to have a phenotype of a man. But continue on. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, and that's also with adjusting the shoulders up more. That's also with slimming the hips and lowering the breast. Now, what's really happening? She said the DNA. So if we were to go into DNA, that would also mess up how daughters are being born to not be attractive to men or attracted to men. You see, so as we can see, a lot of girls don't produce breasts like they should be, or like it was years ago. Nowadays there are a lot of, super skinny, no hip having, or you have the obese lane where it's all types of fibroids and cysts all on the eggs and whatnot, because that would also be a form of birth control, would be to feed them, on obesity levels and mess up their chemical structure. You know what I'm saying? Because humans are chemically operated. So you have, the mustache might produce too much testosterone in the system. It's a lot of things, even when it comes to the names. So in the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Volume 1, I have a lot about birth control in the book. And one of the most interesting things that I found was the names of the brand names of the companies. One of them is named Lunar. Okay. They're all named after goddesses. A lot of them are. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And then there could be the goddesses that we don't know of, you know, as well, that they do, because they got a lot more they got, access to information that we don't have, from the old worlds. And yeah, this is what it is, you know. And then I've also seen reports about the chemicals in the water, and from all the pharmaceutical, all the female chemical stuff that's in the water, from, what is it called, the pads being thrown in the water, and being flushed down the toilet, all that type of shit is mixing into our water system. And they were talking about the pills. It was birth control pills, wasn't it? Being inside the waterways of the cities. It was something like that. I remember. So, it's a very difficult situation. We shouldn't be playing any games in this, but we're the lab rat, so you got to think. The bottom line for the scientists is for the lab rat not to have the child, and they're going to do that in a lot of different forms. Like I said, scent, food, the pills you're taking, masculinizing you as a female, okay, and that's even down to deepening your voice, okay. They'll do it through intellectual stimulation and separation. That's basically all that you're seeing with these debates on the podcast and the reports they're giving out on the news. And we see it in the domestic violence cases that show up in our local news. It's a lot of it. I personally think that my last two relationships were probably affected by birth control without us even noticing it. Because you'll be fighting and doing all types of shit, and you don't even conclude, like, hold on, is the birth control fucking with this one? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, you'll be going through all of this nonsense with your woman at home, not even knowing that it's being influenced by the birth control, you know? But, it goes down to the space of, what sex is utilized for. And when you see children, when you see, what was I about to say? My son just opened up the refrigerator downstairs, so it hit my birthday. So, but yeah, it's a messed up picture. Oh, when they see the lower levels, well, and it is the lower levels. We got to call it for what it is. Socially, financially, we're the lowest levels, and they conclude us to have a lot more sexual activity in our lives, and they also enforce that through media and propaganda. To be focused on the butt, because that is a large animal zone in all humans. And the 1%, the royals, don't think like that. They try to repress that as much as possible and have their life fulfilled with productivity, and a lot of other things that's basically controlling the planet right now. So yeah, that's it. Okay. Birth control alchemy, any form of chemical and or external violent application utilized by the female who does not desire to conceive a child. This includes preventative measures such as altering the beauty attraction factor, contraception, medications, procedures, devices, and behaviors. Okay. And then what's another one you have here? Oh, a vasectomy is also a form of birth control. That's interesting, but that's how it's listed because that's the cause. And then what do we have here? Fertility awareness based methods. Here goes for the ladies. Understanding your monthly fertility pattern external icon external can help you plan to get pregnant or avoid getting pregnant. Your fertility pattern is the number of days in the month when you are fertile, able to get pregnant. Days when you are infertile and days when fertility is unlikely but possible. If you have a regular menstrual cycle, you have about 9 or more fertile days each month. If you do not want to get pregnant, you do not have sex on the days you are fertile. So, or use a barrier method of birth control on those days. Failure rates vary across these methods. 1 to 2 range of typical use. Failure rates is 2 to 23%. So that one's worked. Okay.
Or the pull-out method.
What'd you say?
Or the pull-out method.
Oh yeah, I'm firm on that one. Yeah, I'll pull out on the motherfucker. When I ain't pull out, I'm strapped up. It's disgusting nowadays. Sex is because see, a lot of women don't know these problems, and some of them do, but it's not. They just focus in on their problem. It's a self-centered thing, and this is a mass problem. A lot of women are running around here with fibroids and cysts and back and forth inside out of the hospital and the yeast infections and all this other shit. That's why I tell my sons, man, you better get that pussy when you 12, 15. Because when you up here 35, 38, 40, 45, 50, oh my God. How do you do it, B? Like your brain you can't be a person that really, when you up here, you really can't be, it's odd, bro. It's crazy. I'm gonna tell you that. It's like you don't want to pick up on somebody else's leftovers. I'm not a person, I like new shit. So my mentality, I can't really be fucking around with the used and abused and the baggage having and we finna bring you some responsibilities, nigga. And you think I'm gonna chase this old ass around up in here? It's not happening. That's my birth control. My birth control is 20 years of Taco Bell. You understand? It is all up in your guts, bitch. I already know what the fuck this shit is. That's my birth. That's the birth control. The birth control is I know what the fucking game is out here, man. It is not. It's not pleasant. It's not. You're dealing with a lot of black backlash. You're dealing with like secondhand television. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's what it is. It's secondhand television. No, that ain't young. At 12, 15, I was fucking some pussy, nigga. Every nigga I know was digging in some guts. Well, back then there wasn't cameras everywhere. We didn't have these dumbass cell phones in our way. Like nigga, we take her down here to the abandoned house, nigga. There's a big ass tree in the back of the park, nigga. Now, I'm responding to somebody in the comments right now. So
Yeah.
when
Well,
you're
here.
12 and 15 and she's 12 and 15 and y'all are just now figuring out a human existence, that's how things have worked in every culture for thousands of years, bro. At the same age range, America is defunct.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. So this is Operation Honeymoon saying 12 and 15, pretty young, don't you think? I wanted to ask the listening audience and also those who are going to catch this later, um, people in general, women in particular, what age were you when you lost your virginity?
Uh-oh.
And because a lot of people, especially women, they talk about pedophilia, but and the thing about 12 and 15 on 12 and 15, I get it, but that's unrealistic. Most girls lose their virginity when they're teenagers. In addition to that, most girls lose their virginity to males who are older than them. Age gap dating is innate.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask Operation Honeymoon. I hope you're a woman. How old were you when you lost your virginity? And last question, um, I want to ask the family. Generally speaking, what age? I'm sorry. Do girls lose their virginity before 18 or after 18? I want to ask the family. How old were you when you lost your virginity? And second question, do most girls? When I say most, I mean 51% or more. Do 51% or more women in America lose their virginity before 18 or after 18? Because when we talk about young, the elephant in the room is that the children are having sex, and we were the children at one point in time, and we know, regardless of what we virtue signal on the internet, Operation Honeymoon knows most women lose their virginity in their tender years. In addition to that, most of the family loses their virginity somewhere within this age that we're trying to imply that sexual activity doesn't take place. So I just want to kind of canvas the audience, and you can kind of
Look,
continue on as you
hey,
get those
hey,
answers.
if you ain't doing it at that age, then you're gonna have some very serious psychological problems because the door closes really at like 25, the latest. It's really 21. And if we were to go down to the tribal times, there's the standard age of when a woman is complete and done and when she should be already married up with somebody and having a baby or a new family situation is like 15 to 18. And it was like that in
Well,
early America.
well, when you say 21, I'm not sure what you're talking about in terms of time, but as of
I'm talking about
20,
experience as a male. If you don't have sexual
right,
experience with a certain amount of women by the age of 21, 25, you're going to be fucked up
right.
later.
Well, I mean, I know you referenced different time periods, but in 2023, what percentage of men do you think are a virgin?
I don't know. I mean,
Take a guess.
I mean, well, okay, let's go off when we was all out on the strip last night, right? From what we saw on the quality of human beings. I would have to say maybe 40%.
Close. Uh, 33. One out of every three men under the age of 30 has. Yeah, one out of every three men under the age of 30 is a virgin. Um,
See, that's what
Women,
I'm saying. If you don't get it during that first hump, 12 to 15, my nigga, you about to go down a dark road. Keep going.
yeah, absolutely. What we're going to see is the 25 thing is for women. Most women lose their virginity by age 24. Most men by age 24 uh, haven't had sex. Um, Women control sex, men control relationships. I was talking to you earlier about the Pareto principle, which should be called the Pareto ratio because it speaks to how things operate in 80-20 ratios. Um, 20% of the workforce does 80% of the work. 80% of the traffic is going to occur 20% of the time. Well, the interesting ratio is 80% of the women are only having sex with 20% of men. Um, I think it was a New York Times article where they referenced online activity on dating sites, Tinder, Bumble, so on and so forth. And women swipe right 20% of the time. 20% of 20 only one out of every five guys women find attractive. Eight out of every 10 guys she does not find attractive. This is naturally. This is not we asking her and she has the ability to lie. This is what as we study her, what we're finding.
But yeah, but what we're not talking about, the unwritten law, the unexposed science project conclusion, nigga, is that women make bad decisions. So it's not even we can't even balance upon women deciding on a Twitter app or whatever because they're bad decision makers. You can see that collectively. You can see that by the BBL situation. The attraction towards the whole BBL situation was in essence a bad decision. If we look at the following of Kim Kardashian being the leader, we can see what happened to Kim Kardashian. That was a bad decision. We can look at the collective social mind of women and see that it's all bad decisions. Like if you want to go ahead and do a statistic on the type of businesses that women self-employ them, on the Google, you'll see stuff like or products that they're selling. I've seen a lot of girls make lingerie. They only thinking about another woman. You know what I'm saying? They think, a woman is the world. They don't see outside of themselves. They don't see existence. They halfway see children and don't see men. It's a blinding system. You see what I'm saying? So even if you go into the realm of when I lost my point. Hold on. Lost my point real quick. But yeah, it's a bad decision making is what we were on. Okay. Kim Kardashian was a bad decision. You can say listening to Beyonce's music was a bad decision. You can say going to the club for 10 years was a bad decision. OnlyFans ended up being a bad decision for him, wasn't it? They took Facebook into family into, Pizzagate. At first it was all family pictures, and then it turned into, the OnlyFans marketing zone for the same women that was in the pictures of the family when it began. You see what I'm saying? So it's all been a lot of bad decisions here. And one thing that I know that you would like to bring up is when I state you're keeping her safe from her own decision making. You see. So I can't listen to a study like that because I know they make bad decisions. That's why they have single moms. They made bad decision on the man that they were getting with, obviously, you know. So unless you ran them off, which can be done, so it's all bad decisions here, bro. That's why the old world operated in the way they did when it came to women socially. That's why there's been religion standing for as long as it's been standing for, because religion was the old birth control system. When religion started to fade, girls got hit with the hanger here in America, and I'm not talking about hit literally. I'm talking about they removed the baby by parts with a hanger. Okay. That was the old brothels of America and that system. And that's what's going on, you know? That is what's going on. So the birth control has been here for eons and eons. Huh? I can't hear you, brother.
We have some women in the audience who I would say are uneducated
Why you say that?
and I think they're making mindless comments, but what I did was put the link to this video in the chat. And if there's a woman who is in disagreement with me saying that their statements are uneducated, I would invite you on the live with us to have civil discourse.
Okay, well, look at it. Let's talk about it. Men, you have the power to lead the woman. And men, it all comes down to you. No, let me show you, because you decide who you want to be in a relationship and you decide when you want to pack your bags to leave. So that shows that you have a brain that makes decisions, right? So it's when it comes to, I love it when they ask Dan Pena. You know who Dan Pena is?
I'm sorry?
Dan Pena. Do you know who Dan Pena is?
No.
Well, Dan Pena, he's a billionaire, right? A stock billionaire. And somebody in the audience asked him, how do you keep up your relationship with your wife? How do you keep your wife? He said, my wife keeps herself. She's a workaholic like he is. And that's exactly what the law is. You can buy your woman lions. You could take her to Mars. You could take her to Saturn rings. You can get her the biggest diamond. She's still going to try and find some area that you're not doing. And then from that area of what you're not doing, she's going to paint you as the devil. And that's going to happen around the third, fourth year of the relationship. It's called the 4-year itch, which is also defined in the book. Okay. And then you have the 7-year itch, which is also defined in the book. Okay. Then they say after the 10th or the 12th one, you're supposed to be able to ride forever if you can survive that long. I couldn't make it past the 7-year itch with neither one of mine. So that's just what happens. We have been on this planet for thousands of years. We figured some shit out, And I got
Absolutely.
abortifacient. I got the word abortifacient, which has a lot of herbs in it. I mean, it has all the herbs listed for abortions. Okay. Like it says right here, the plant silphium is a powerful herb used to purge the uterus, is what they call it. See silphium. I got silphium defined in the book. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, you didn't cut me off.
Oh, okay. But I got a question right here. I'm gonna address 720. Am I married? No, I'm not married. Yeah, I'll never do it. I ain't even gonna lie. I mean, I shouldn't have put that out there like that, because that made everybody, all the females, jump back. But it's not like, I ride until I die. I'll ride till I die with a chick. You know what I'm saying? She gonna ride till I die with me. If she does, a paper at the court is not going to define that. So I'll never go up in a court system and get any type of marriage license with a woman. I can't do it.
Why not?
This nigga hit me with the simple. Why not? Okay. Well, we gonna have to reach on the trauma. I was traumatized as a child. You understand? I was a young one. I was yay high, nigga. You understand? And I found out my dad was paying child support for my sister when I lived with my dad. So if one child because when I found out all of the shit that was going on, I was like, let me help my pops out, you know what I'm saying? So, and then my mom didn't know what she was doing, rest in peace. I'm not saying anything bad about her, but when we moved down to Atlanta, it wasn't sufficient like it should have been sufficient. You understand me? So there was a lot of things going on, and I was basically being made the man of the house. So I had to take care of 2 acres of land and, clean gutters. I had to do a whole bunch of shit that I'm like, nigga, this is not my problem. And this is not how I was moving up in Illinois, nigga. I'm out this bitch. So I went back with my dad, and I found out that he had to pay child support for my sister. And I was like, nah, nigga. I said, oh, that's how they running this game here. So the woman gets everything and the man gets left shitty. I'm like, nigga, we not gonna do this at no time in my life. So, and it hasn't. I get child support today. I'm not gonna play the game. But keep going. Come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah, come back in the show, bro.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. For me, I know that one of the health implications of birth control is it's been tied to uh, well, birth control. Birth control is an estrogen pill, so she's getting estrogen overload when she takes that birth control, and it stops her body from producing estrogen. It's the same thing with steroids.
Yeah,
Uh,
bro, let's go a little bit further. The shampoo, the lotions, and everything else got estrogen in it. Keep going.
oh wow, yeah. So the when men take steroids, steroids are just testosterone. So now you use the testosterone and in on a surface it looks like it's working. You know, taking these testosterone or steroid shots to get big, but the downside is that for the male it makes your body stop producing testosterone, and for the female it makes your body stop producing um, estrogen. So now, once the body goes through a where it's too much in the system, once the body stops making it, it's hard to get it to start back up and doing it again because we know uh, the, the female, let's not say woman, the highest point. And let me ask the listening audience: when do females have the most estrogen in their system? At what point in her life? Around what age? I'm asking the ladies. Around what age does a female have the most estrogen that she will ever have in her life? At what age does she have the most? Let's I am quizzing the family, so within true tradition, let's throw some music in there. Give them a second. Okay, so none of the women answered. And nobody answered number one, but none of the women answered. And that's something I find interesting that women really don't know their bodies. Not even taking shots, just saying, let this, you know, reflect on the record. So around the time she first starts puberty, let's say, in her early teen years, is when she's going to have the highest amount of estrogen that she's ever going to have in her life. Now, the difference between her and a man is her estrogen supply is limited to, let's say, the 40s, 50s, where a man's testosterone, though it will go down, if he's healthy, it'll stay throughout the rest of his life. So now, when the locked type says she just subbed. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. But yeah, so with that said, um, while she's having uh, this estrogen surge, uh, the thing of 2023 is this is new thing really. They're saying we should put our daughters on birth control in those tween years. Let's say 12, 13, 14 is when she should start, and there's nothing wrong with that. I got a video that I put on my channel. I think YouTube flagged it, but it was women. It was a podcast in 2023, 2022. Nothing,
Brother,
long time. But yeah, please, what do you think?
brother, it says here from 2015 to 2017. Approximately 73.3 million abortions occurred worldwide each year. Do you understand, nigga? 73.3 million each year, bro. Worldwide, bro. I mean, I guess that's small compared to 7 billion people on the earth, right? Is that small? Is that a small number? 73 million? Your mic, your mic, your mic, your mic.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, but I think that goes into what I was saying to you earlier. Um, when you're dealing with um, birth control, they present the idea of overpopulation, but what we're seeing is population collapse. And the family's saying men protect us, but the reality is you can't tell a woman not to have a baby or you can't make her have a baby. She holds these decisions within the free world. So now, if you look at the birth rate, um, I want to ask one more question and then I'll pass the mic. When we deal with birth rate, does the family? No, I'm not going to ask a question. I'm just going to say it. When we deal with birth rate, we're dealing with a man and a woman having a child, and for the birth rate to be neutral, you have to have at least two children, because the mom and the dad are the current generation, and they give birth to the next generation. So when the mom and the dad die, the two children in the new generation replace them in terms of numbers. So two people gave birth to two other people, and then those two people died, and we kept the same population of two.
Mhm.
Or if those two parents only had one child, then the birth rate goes from 2 to 1, and that's a 50% decline. Last option, you have three children or more, so now the birth rate goes up. So what we should understand is that we must at least have two children, but the reality is we are barely having two children. We're at like 1.6, 1.8. If you go look at United States birth rate, it's 1.8 child per couple. That's a negative birth rate. This is black women as well. We're not having, remember, our grandmothers had 16 brothers and sisters, and then their offspring maybe had five children. And, today, the average woman has one child, maybe two. But what we're seeing is birth control on a whole different level where she's having tons and tons of sex, but she's not having her children. She's either taking traditional birth control, being the contraceptives, or she's doing late term contraceptive, being abortion. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, yeah, bro, there's a lot of different forms of it. Another form is influence that we're not talking about, just like through media, music, frequencies and all this other shit. There is a big um war on the uteri, and uteri really don't, the uteri itself, when we want to talk about it on a facehugger level, is, a scientist, an extreme scientist. And that's what we're looking at, when the laboratory is blown up and you're now, running out of the building hoping that you don't get hit by debris. Okay. And that is the case. So the uteri indirect is telling, the scientists what to do. And it has gone haywire because of the depression of mankind. So we can have the uprisal of the robot. The robot is in sync with, uteri control, the uteri being able to control it, blah blah blah, wanting to get off this goddamn earth. And that's what we see here. We're seeing the depression of mankind, and it would only be something that is not of man that will want to destroy man, because inherently we do have decision making skills in a lot of humans. When we look at them historically, they obviously have made a lot of bad decisions or stagnant decisions that were brought to a limit, and that limit became stagnant, like plateaued. And what I'm talking about is cultural structure. And when it comes to tribes and all of that, them not mating at all is a form of birth control, and that was a lot of the rules that were going. There was very strict rules in a lot of tribal conditions, you know, and that goes back to what this whole uteri control thing is. It's all experimentation, and right now we're being removed completely. We're being depressed, and it's being done through minerals, and that's part of the reason why a lot of the birth rate is low as well, is because women don't eat real food anymore. Women are to be the plump and the buxom in order to reproduce, and we got a bunch of toothpicks walking around here nowadays. And it's very difficult for the toothpick to reproduce, and that's just the bottom line. So our food doesn't have the proper mineral content to support pregnancy, and that's also why there's a lot of babies being born with defects. And yeah, those individuals are 9 times out of 10 going to be unproductive. They're consumers. So everything is that we're doing, from ecosystem to finances as collective, is all in depletion of humans, which is a birth control. Which is birth control is only a couple of percentages of the big picture. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot at our attack for birth control measures. That's everything from technology to food to the chemicals that's in the pill, the alteration of testosterone in the male and the estrogen in the female, and the enhancement of it. A lot of media influence, a lot of argumentation, the whole LGBTQ shit. All of that is psychological psyche warfare to encourage birth control the birth, and make sure it doesn't happen. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I go too crazy, or did I go too far, or what?
No, I was actually having an idea. I know a lot of the sisters, they probably don't want to show their face, and are comfortable in the comments, which is 1,000,000% fine. I did want to say, though, if I could get a different type of crowd participation, and I'll just show your comments if you can really tap in. So for the listening audience, the family in general, women in particular, if you could go and Google or whichever DuckDuckGo, whatever it is you do. But go and Google second most common outpatient surgery, hysterectomy. And whatever little blurb or whatever that you get, can you put it in the comments and let me know what you find? So we already know overall that um, there's something going on, but this requires a large part of participation. At one point in time, these things were forced upon us, but in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. The second most common outpatient surgery is a hysterectomy. She's giving her womb away, or she's giving up on her womb. The first, the most common female outpatient surgery is C-section. So you're going to see where either she doesn't believe from her own level, or she's been convinced, or whatever the case may be, but she doesn't believe that she can carry a child to term and deliver it naturally. And this is causing a lot of issues as well, in terms of, okay, here we go. Um, Thank you so much, Conscious Connect. And, I said this earlier, I'll say it again. It's not enough to be opinionated, we have to be informed. So, Conscious Connect says, outpatient surgery is done without the need for any hospital stay, and you go home the same day. Hysterectomies are the second most commonly performed surgery on American women after cesarean delivery. So this is a copy paste, obviously, which is what we asked for. So I don't want to paint the picture of a boogeyman, a monster under the bed, or a villain. And the reason being is because whatever issues that we have, unfortunately, are self-inflicted. I yield.
Yeah, self-inflicted on all levels. Taking the pill is a self-infliction. Alone, you're taking the pill. And that's it's kind of funny how they merged in the pills with the propaganda to just for the comfort line of pills. Actually, that goes back to the early 1900s when doctors used to stand on the soapboxes and tell all their wild stories about healing in other cultures, and they sunk in with a large focus on women. And they said, okay, we're just going to tell them that they're sick, they're sick, they're sick, they're sick, they're sick. Something's wrong with you, you're sick. And then they give them some pills at the doctor's office. This is before the pharmaceutical industry even started in America. The main focus was to be on top of women, you see. So as time progressed, you have a situation where they mixed in the wine with the taking of the pills. So that used to be like the picture on magazines or the picture on on movies. They would have slip those scenes in there, women taking the pills and drinking the liquor with it. And then or drinking wine rather, liquor, wine, two different things. So then it continues on into this day, and we're still taking pills now, and a lot of them are with the heroin. But you best believe that I don't even know what. Hold on, let me see here. 1960 was the first oral contraceptive pills. No wonder all the kids are deformed. That's like 60 years solid of pill taking. Bro, we are being destroyed, dog. Bro, we're being destroyed pretty damn bad. 1960 is when they made the first pill available to the public. So, it wasn't too far from standing on the soapbox and regulating the whole system from a lot of what we call the quack doctors, right? Who were trying to do morphine. They had a lot of crazy stuff in those early JCPenney catalogs, but they still sell contraceptives there. We got Plan B now, where a woman can take it overnight. What type of damage do you think that is being done to her eggs? For she could take a Plan B right after the event and she won't get pregnant. How much damage you think? Because that's what they're doing. It's damaging your eggs, So the children come out deformed, and that's what we have today.
I wanted to ask the listening audience, because I know there's like 100% new people from the original from back in the day, years ago. But how many of you, and let's say this, if you have not seen my video called Stone Babies, can you press 999? If you have not seen my video called Stone Babies, type in 999. So the reason women have stone babies, which she'll be in gestation for, let's say, 27 months. In some cases, 20 years she's in gestation and the baby has crystallized. Um, Hold on, I feel a sneeze coming on. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But yeah, so one of the reasons why women have stone babies is because she's taking birth control in that first trimester of pregnancy and she doesn't know it. So there's a a, a window where she's taking the birth control and she's gotten pregnant and she doesn't know she's pregnant and she's still taking the birth control while she's pregnant. This will cause the baby to be underdeveloped. This will cause the pregnancy to go undetected. This will cause the uterus to calcify. Yes, yes, and yes. The medical term in which I'm talking about, to make best, I'm not sure if you're a guy or a girl, but I'm putting respect in your name as a person, is called lithopedion. Lithopedion is a phenomena of women having stone babies. I did the video, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago. But these are the effects. My older brother was a stone baby, unborn. Tap all the way in family. Brother, I yield the floor. What say you?
Me about stone babies?
Or just the effects of birth control. It's up to you.
It's definitely destroying. It's like I said, man. You know, it is part of the for 60 years we've been this women have been taking in. We just now getting on to the point of what's going on here and getting down to some chemical understanding here. Like, you know, you are what you eat. Whatever you put in your mouth is what you will become. You know, it's gonna affect you drastically, and we see that. And you know, it's up to us. We're not doing nothing about it because America is built on money and the problem, not in the solution. But now it is affecting you directly. Are you going to do anything about it? That's the whole point. I'm a person, like the homie said earlier, executioner. You understand? And I execute things. I make things complete. Well, what we need to get to a solution. This is the problem, you know. But then you're talking about, you know, control over the woman, and you're controlling, and your male toxicity and all of that. So whatever. That's why my house is silent. I don't have to go back and forth with nobody about shit. I run my paradigm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to agree with nobody about a goddamn thing. I know how to logically operate. I know how to be cordial in public. I know how to carry myself with class, and I study that, and that's what I suggest other people do as well. But unfortunately, everybody's not born in those type of scenarios to get that at least a kickstand off the motorcycle for you to be on that lane. You see what I'm saying? Some people get it, some people don't. You know, it's just a nasty situation. You know, abortion rate is high. We don't know, and that's what scared me in that witchcraft. Right in the medieval, we don't know how our bread is being made. They used to put baby parts all in the bread and all types of crazy ass shit. You know, on the witchcraft side of shit, we don't know what we're doing. You understand? So, and with the birth control and the abortions, man, it's an ugly situation. You know, when you really look at women fighting for abortion, they're basically fighting to kill their own child. That's what they're fighting for. You're fighting to kill your own child when you're fighting for abortion. Birth control is the same thing. Pull out if you have one partner, a conjugal partner that your woman or whatever the case, pull out. Pull out should always work. It always has. You have to have, and let me show you what pull out does psychologically to the relationship because it makes you the dominant factor. You have more psychological and you have more self control. When a woman, when you're having good liaison with a woman, she has no self control. Her body is flopping and swinging everywhere. Her arms are swinging everywhere. Her eyes are rolled in the back of her head. Her breathing is all crazy. If it's really going down like it should go down. So it shows you that she doesn't have any self control. The sexual act alone, she doesn't have any control that's applied. So when you are applying control, that means her beauty doesn't affect you. You see, and your beauty, her beauty, does not affect your decision making, which shows that you have a superior decision making. You know, during the course of sex, she doesn't have no decision making with her arms or legs or none of that. You got to control all of that, okay, and control yourself. So the method is pull out method. That is but in the Bible they say that's a curse. So you know, to pull out, but I'm not gonna do none of that fucking shit. I'm not having no more kids. I'm not doing that shit.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, I can't say. I might pop one out
No, but
towards the end.
I say it like this though. The only reason I say that is because DNA influences a motherfucker, man. You got to know what type of DNA you fucking on for number one. For number two, people don't hold themselves in quality, my nigga, and I don't settle for less. And yeah,
I wanted to ask the family to do another Google search for me. So, family, if you could, somebody in the listening audience, anybody in general, a woman in particular, if you could you Google by 2030, 45% of American women will be single and childless? If somebody in the listening audience, if you could, if you would, Google and put whatever you capture in the comments and I'll share it on the screen. 45% of American women will be single and childless by 2030, which is only 7 years away. What were you going to say, brother?
no. What about that 68% one? 68% of all humans in nursing homes are women. 68% are women. So you see, this is an internal problem. This is when it gets down to the face hugger plaguing the woman's mind. This is what's really going on. What's really going on is that women have two thought structures. She has the human woman mind, and then she has the uteri mind. And that uteri mind, and I don't know if they know this, is what's so crazy about it, is that they know this, but they don't have to respond to it unless you know it. You see? That's the whole thing about it. So they can play double thoughts all they want. When you understand how the facehugger operates, you can hear its voice. It'll talk, Go ahead.
Give me just a second. So, shout out to Conscious Connect. She's on fire. Uh, she's probably levitating, but yeah, she says, and this is a screenshot, obviously. I'm sorry, I copy paste. According to a study by Morgan Stanley, it's estimated that 45% of women ages 25 to 44, women in their sexual years of having children, will be single and childless by 2030, which is only 7 years away. That's just 7 years in the future. This is as of May 2nd, 2023. So, what we're seeing is that there's a lot of sex going on, and we know women control sex, but there's not a lot of childbirth and there's not a lot of relationships because men control relationships, and ultimately a family, if there's no father in the house, she doesn't have a family, she has kids. A father controls relationships, and a father, it's not a woman makes a house a home, a father is what makes a house a home. If the woman's in the house and it's her and those kids, that's not a family, she got kids. That's what that is. Um, just to add that distinction. But brother, we've been on for about an hour. Um, I didn't want to go too much longer, but I'll follow your lead. How do you want to play the game?
Um, the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women, get it at thewomansalchemy.com. I'm not selling them separately. They will not be sold separately. Volume 1, Volume 2, 200 apiece. It has all of it in there. Everything about birth control too. And it's a very serious piece of work. So get it. Done it for mankind, obviously. It's a very ugly situation. Fallen angels got to come down here to teach humans how to make love. It's what the fuck is that about? That is some fucking. We ain't got to do that for none of the other levels of existence on the planet, but we gotta do that for y'all. What type of shit? I don't know. It's difficult, but yeah. Anyways, that's the game. Go to the website. Go to the moneyreligion.locals.com. That is where I will be building the empire. It will be, a lot of new shit coming. So, and go to kickedoutofheaven.com if you want to get the 3-volume series, only $100. Do it like that, and you really need to get the witchcraft to understand the witchcraft before you get up in this encyclopedia, even though there's a lot of witchcraft elements defined in the encyclopedia. So yeah, hit the cash app too, $GTHEGAD720. You dig what I'm saying? Do all of that. Holla at me, any locals listening, holla at me, and that's it. Saga City Records in this bitch. Can you play the music? hope he gonna play the music.
Oh no, I couldn't get it to work on my side.
Yeah, well, play my music, nigga, on the Spotify, nigga. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience. Play my music on the motherfucker. Go to the guy. Put the guy 720 on the Google, and it'll all pull up.
Okay, that's what it is. All right, family. Well, you heard it here first, right here, only right here on Crumb TV. It is I, your humble brother, the master student. Um, I want to close out with the usuals, family. If you, oh yeah, let me acknowledge the supporters, the family who does support. I want to put some respect in your name. I hope my phone's about to die, so I really hope I can get it out because your support means everything to me. So yeah, Demuzi took the dollar challenge, simply just sending $1 to money sign Crumb TV or whatever amount that you want to. Um, who else do we have here? Ro D. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Javier, and I think I've been saying the name wrong this whole time. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Jovan, if I pronounced it wrong, charge it to my mind, not my heart. Vanessa, she took the dollar challenge several times over. Jacqueline, I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Um, Jermaine. Oh, wow. Yeah, Jermaine showed me big love. If you want to take the dollar challenge, family, that is great. It means everything. It supports the channel. It keeps everything going. But remember, family, I am not Pastor Pork Chop, Reverend Chicken Wing. So you can always support by hitting that like button. It's free. That's the biggest part. It's easy. It takes a second. It works for the algorithm. It does a lot of good things. Also, family, drop a comment. Let me know what you think in terms of birth control. Did we touch some important topics on this? Was there something missing from the conversation that you wanted to hear us talk about, or you yourself would have loved to add from maybe a female's perspective or another male's perspective? Either or, I'm looking to hear from you. You know we answer comments. Last but not least, family, wherever you're watching this from, it doesn't matter. Smash that subscribe button, family. With that said, I want to leave you. We do have to go. That is a true statement. The exact same way I came to you. I am your humble brother Crumb, and you are now watching Crumb TV. Peace.
Brother Red Pill representing Know the Ledge, one half of the Twin Pillars. I am here rocking with Crumb TV.
You are watching Crumb TV.
You can find me on Crumb TV.
You can catch me on Crumb TV. This is Chief Kalanago here at Crumb TV.
I am Joy Allen of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty in the Crumb TV studio.
Honored to be on your program, brother.
Peace. Peace.
Crumb TV.